Villas Gunners Collective. Back at it, you already know. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba-ba-ba. Ba-da-ba-ba-ba. Like a mother smack addict. As you can tell by today's thumbnail, yes indeedy, I wrote graffiti all over the bus. And in that fashion, a menudo style, a direct fashion, we're going to get straight into it. We're going to talk about why this war between norteños and sureños has been going on outside of the walls, outside of the gates of the penitentiaries, the prisons, the yardas, even though inside there's an end to hostilities. What? Sasuke, where's the wind blowing? Why does it continue to rage? Why does it continue to happen? Why are their bodies continually being dropped? After the directive is already set not to engage, to end and cease hostilities. Now I'll tell you this, the streets and prisons are very different, okay? The rules and regulations that apply to the streets are always gonna be blurred, marred, different. People are not gonna look at it the same way. See, everybody on the streets has a little wiggle room. See, there's a little wiggleization that happens. Whereas in prison, you're going to go by the political makeup of your agenda and what your group is pushing. That's period, plain and simple. Now, that's been known and that's going to happen no matter where you're from, whether it be a norteño, a sureño, a crip, a blood, a kumi, whatever the case may be. At the end of the day, you're going to adhere to the rules, regulations, and policies set forth by your group segment. Now, that's understandable. I understand when you're in prison, politics make up the get down. The get down is real and in that fashion, but at the same time, you need to also understand that the streets are a different animal, a different monstruo. They're a monster and a beast all into their own. Now, you need to be able to know how to separate the streets from the prison. The inside and the outside are different. Now, according to Santana and American Me, hey, the inside runs the outside. Simon, the inside does run the outside, but at the same time, the vatos from the outside don't listen all the time, right? Their ears are closed. You know, everyone has an agenda. You know, the agenda should be saca la bolsita. It should be about that money, about that paper. It should be about getting your issue by any means necessary in the best way that you can. So if you can get it legally, get it. If you have to go the illegal route, well, that's on you. That's up to you to take the necessary penitentiary chances to do what you have to do for you and yours. But at the same time, what you have are a whole bunch of vatos that are doing it correctly in prison and adhering to these rules and these policies set forth by their people. You know, I've heard a lot of stories lately. You know, I've heard rumors, innuendos, stories, people telling me that, you know, you have norteños and sureños that are fraternizing on these yards. They're kicking back. They're playing handball. They're eating sopas, not necessarily together, but they are eating sopas, passing them back and forth. Now, back in my days, to pass a sopa to a Southsider, well, that was normal. Okay, that was a respect thing. If you've seen a vato struggling, you guys are in the oil, you got cantina, he doesn't got cantina, the righteous thing to do is to aid anyone of a Latin descent. At least that was the norteños policies. That's the way we got down. If I see a sureño next to me and I know he didn't get cantina, sabes que I'm going to slide him a jabón, I'm going to slide him a sopa right off the top because I'm aiding anyone of a Latin descent. He's a Latino, I'm going to look out for my fellow brother. Now, at the same time, that just doesn't mean I aid him. If I see a wood across the wayway and he's also doing bad, boom, I'm going to aid him too because I'm aiding anyone, you know, that's worthy of a cause, period. And you don't treat your adversaries with disrespect or your oppositions with disrespect. Now, everybody knows if them gates crack, if them doors open, so I'm scared the funk is on. That's just how it is on the oil people. In the oil, people are on site. Okay, it's been like that. It's going to stay like that unless there's a soft fucking defensive standby. That has happened in prison in the SHU program that was implemented where norteños and sureños and vatos of higher stature were not getting off necessarily when the doors cracked because they felt the administration were cracking these doors purposely so that they would get off on each other, job security, and in that fashion. But at the same time, the streets don't always play by that professionalism and by them rules. Okay, so this war rages on and continues. Now, I know as far as down south, the sureños conduct their fucking program the way they conduct it. They're going to continue to do them as far as hood-to-hood politics. Vatos beefing with people that they beefed with for many, many moons, many years. And that's just the way the get down is in Southern California. But when the wind blows up north, it's different. Okay, Northern California has always been very different. And what you have is a lot of street gangs that I won't necessarily are behind in time to the sur, but they're basically at war. And the reason is the establishment of the sureñoism that happened in the 90s. Sureños started to ingrain themselves in them streets. You have strongholds like Santa Cruz, Atwater, Sanjo, Richmond, Concord, Vallejo. Sureños are deep. In fact, in some of these cities that I just mentioned, a lot of their hoods are the majority. Whereas back in the early 90s, they were the minority. It was a northern thing. It was norteños first and foremost, forever striving. Somewhere along the line, a lot of the real hitters, a lot of the true ones got incarcerated. And that's not to disrespect any of the youngsters, but I'm just saying they weren't laced up the way they were supposed to be laced up, because the Vatos were all incarcerated doing their thing in the 90s, fighting that war behind the walls. So as now, the war is not raging like it used to be, but the streets is. Because Sureños established. They came in, they established their flags were planted, strongholds were established. And now what you have is the Sureños basically trying to get rid of these Norteño barrios in northern cities. It's happened. Plenty of people have asked me, well, Gun, how were the Sureños able to establish, but Norteños can't establish down south? Whoever says they can't, right? Doesn't know what they're talking about. Anyone can establish anywhere. But you have to use common sense and brain. So watch out. Look in your head. That is a brain, supposedly, right? Use it. Brain powers and fucking righteous ways of thinking say you have to be a damn Julio, to think that Norteños can just go establish down south and it's just going to be like that. Nah, bro. The Sureños are so deep. There's so many barrios that are well established. There's no turf to gather. There's nothing you can do, right? And if you are able to plant a little flag and maybe get some fucking loose alliances going with some Cripas or some Africanos, some Bloods, then whatever. You know what I mean? You might be able to fucking last for a week or two. But Sasuke, the Sureños ain't having it. Now, the Norteños are not suckers by no fashion, man. And just because they're Sureños up north doesn't mean the Norteños didn't handle their business. But at the same time, like I said, it's more spread out. There's less gang members. There's less gangs. Okay, whereas in the Sur, you have fucking Florencia, Playboys, Maravilla. You got several gangs on and so forth. In the Valle, you get the Valleros, the Harbor area, Sela, Nella. You got West LA. You got a lot. Okay, up north, it's very different. In my city, you got maybe 20 gangs, and everybody pretty much gets along for the most part. But Sasuke, back in the days, the funk was on in the 90s. Yes, the war was real. Now, it's more of a, man, just do your thing. I'm going to do my thing. What I've noticed nowadays, gang members are more so on their bag. They're more so about their money. You know, if they happen to run into the opposition and the claps get real, well, then the claps get real. Drum style, right? But for the most part, man, people ain't tripping like that. But the war is still raging. Okay, and it's raging up north, maybe not down south, because there are no established Norteños down south, you know, supposedly. And we're going to get into a spill later on in the week where I'm going to tell you about, you know, something that's going on down south. But quietly as it's kept, we're not going to speak on that too much right now. But I will say this, the Norteños and the Sureños, yes, are still going at it. The war is real on the calles up north. You have the upstate Sureños. And I remember when they first started calling themselves upstaters, I was like, Sasuke? And I think that was because they felt some type of way. They didn't want to incorporate the word north or north there or anything like that into what they were. They wanted to be Southerners, Sureños, established from certain barrios down south or even homegrown up north. But they didn't want to incorporate the word north into what they had going on. And there's a hatred there. Bodies have dropped. Okay? Brothers, sisters, mothers, fathers, cousins, oh my, right? Even baby daddies have fell to the sword. They have fell to the bullet, right? Live by the gun, die by the gun. That's how it's always been up north. You know, motherfuckers will hit you quick and do it pushing. So the war has been going on. You know, I look at this YouTube thing and I see for the most part, a lot of the Sureños from down south are very respectful, as well as the Norteños. They give each other a lot of respect. You know, they've realized over the years that these Vatos are not really our adversaries. They're brown just like us. And at the same time, they're doing their things. Again, we're going to do ours. And that's a good thing. That's how it's supposed to be. Now, even coming together is even better. But at the same time, that's going to take tiempo. That's going to take a lot of time and a lot of effort and a lot of real ones making that push. You know, and at the end of the day, until the big homies that whoever are doing whatever they're doing, allegedly say this is the way it is, and that's the way it is. But before that directive comes out, you need to understand that you need a lot of like-minded, wise individuals on the calles to adhere to that, to want to accept that. And up north, the fights between the upstate Sureños and the Norteños, it's hard to fucking quench that thirst. Vatos are out there trying to wiggle. Vatos out there killing each other, and the war has raged on. It has never stopped. Okay? They didn't even Sasuke Vatos didn't even think about it. What's going on? The Vatos ain't getting on. First, Ben, there was a stage called denial. When the end of hostilities was implemented, everybody, I denied it. So I was like, chop. The wind ain't blowing that way. There's no way Norteños and Sureños could end any hostilities. As I started to inquire, use my fucking mente and start looking into it, I realized, yes, indubitably, indeed, they wrote graffiti on that bus. It was beneficial for all parties concerned. You know, it was beneficial to get the righteous ones that were being oppressed and fucking sent back into these dungeons. It was able to be brought out back to the yard where they righteously should be established. Then it was also a good look, man, because there was a lot of deprivation and torture that was going on back in these shoes, man. And people shouldn't be stuck back there having to adhere to the fucking administration's policies and fucking being basically tortured, right? So it was a good look. And man, you wanna always hope that your fellow man, your fellow human, it doesn't matter what they've done, what crimes they're accused of, unless they're weirdos. So it's good. Don't get that fucking confused, off with their head, right? But anyone else should be able to breathe a fresh breath of air every once in a while and do their thing. Now, of course, the administration is going to fight that and say, Charlie, man, we're letting straight gangsters and criminals run criminal organizations and empires out here on these yards. That's neither here nor there. You can't put someone's on their plate or judge a book by its cover. Orale, this ain't the never-ending story. Or maybe it is. Orale, Atreyu. Either way, it was a good thing. And when it was established, and these vatos fought hard for it, they're to be respected for fighting that good fight, because not only did it affect them and what they got going on today, but it will affect the future. Vatos that go in now don't have to worry about getting indeterminates. You know, they fought the good fight for gente like you and me and other people, man, brown people, white people, black people, to go in there and not have to worry about staying in the fucking dungeon for decades. They already did that for us, or for themselves, but they established and put it in writing and did it the right way, went through the proper procedures in the court system to make it fucking happen. So appreciate that and respect it. Whether you're into gangs or you're not into gangs, man, that's neither here nor there. You have to respect the next man for looking out for himself and the next man behind him. He paid it forward, homie. Believe that, and I respect that no matter what. But these youngsters and a lot of these people that are on the calles don't accept it. Okay? There was people on YouTube once upon a time, I haven't seen them in a minute, but they weren't accepting it. I ain't with the truths. I ain't with this. I'm with that. You ain't got to be with it, humps. You're going to be with what you're going to be with when you're told to be with that. Everybody will recognize it and everybody will adhere to what a big homie is saying, period. That's just it. And if you don't know, you ain't never been nowhere. You ain't been in no juvenile halls, no YAs, no county jails, no placements. Sasuke, you ain't even been to your motherfucking old lady's house when Tyrone is giving it to her long distance. You ain't been nowhere, homes. You know, motherfuckers that have been on them yardas, 4 yards, 180s, 270 buildings, blocks, did A1A status, A2B, you know, 128 Gs, 115s. Motherfuckers that know, oh yes, they know. Okay, that's just the way it is. They've been around the block in the 6'4", not riding on flats, you know, riding on motherfucking Michelins or Vogues, getting it. They understand the political makeup. They understand the agenda. They understand that it's beneficial for all parties involved. Whereas on the streets, it's different. It's all about that bag. It's all about bopping your opposition. It's all about clout. It's all about, hey, I'm not one. You know what I mean? Or you going to be that one locked up getting Tyrone. You better watch out. Oh, yes, you better. Anyways, so the war rages and it continues. Will it ever stop? Right now, what I could say is one only hopes, does one. I can't call it like an alcoholic, man. A lot of these people got this fury and this hatred instilled in them, whether it be because they lost a loved one or because they're just laced that way and they're told, you know, or maybe it's an agenda. You know, maybe a certain body is like, I'll never get along with Norteños or I'll never get along with Sureños. And people tell themselves that. And you know what? I don't hate them for it. What can I say? I was once part of that crowd. I was once the ones pushing that war on. I was on the front lines of that war. But I will say it's getting old. It's definitely getting old. You know, we are all brown men. Instead of focusing on beating up the next man because he's wearing blue or because he's wearing red or because Sasuke he's wearing amarillo. No, we don't do amarillo. But you understand what you need to focus on is taking care of all those fucking kids that you made with 6 different pirujas on the corner. What you need to focus on is getting your ass up, homes, and doing some máquina or some rutina and taking care of your body because your ass is getting old, homie, and you're getting played out. What you also need to do is focus on what you can do to prevent the youth from getting caught up and doing the same things you did, because that's bringing the community down. But the vatos don't think like that. So let's get fuck that, homes. I'm going to go smack this vato. You know what I mean? Then what happens? You get locked up, and guess what? Ding, 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 ding. Yes, indeedy. Gunner's going to tell you what's going to happen. You're going to get in there, and if you did something, homes, that was against the grain, and you did something that wasn't right, your career's over anyways. And guess what, Babo? So you're going to do life without the benefits of having any camaradas to back you up. Or Norteños likewise, bros, to back you up. They're going to be like, Charlie Humps, go hit the SNY and go get fucking peeled by a chirujo. It's ugly. So anyways, I just wanted to put it out there. This war continues to rage. Yes, Norteños and Sureños are constantly killing each other on the calles. It's not a good look. It's not a good thing. But it's something that just has to play out in due time and in its own course of time. It's something that's been happening and something that even though the incarcerated members are doing one thing, the calles are doing another. When will they get on the same level? I can't call it like an alcoholic, but I will say this: at the end of the day, it will happen eventually. Do you understand? Just like Santana said, the inside are coming out. Simon, you know what I mean? The inside runs the outside. So eventually, motherfuckers are going to get filtered out to the point where it's, hey, stop it already, babosos. It's all good in the hood, bro. We ain't tripping. Those aren't our adversaries. You need to understand, man, there's big things going on in the penitentiary right now. Things that if you're out there gangbanging, eventually you're going to get caught up and you're going to get incarcerated. You need to look at, you need to fucking think about, because, hey, you can find yourself in an icky, sticky, ugly situation and you don't want that, you know? There's a big revolution going on. There's a turn. There's a twist in the tables that's happening, man. And the SNY and these fucking SNY gangs are taking over they're taking over prisons. But you don't feel me though, huh? You ain't hearing me. Anyways, with that being said, man, you're going to do what you want to do. If you want to continue to support this gang activity on the streets and these fights between Norteños and Sureños, eventually you're going to find yourself locked up. You're going to have a celly that's a Norteño or a Sureño. You guys are going to be playing handball and eating a sopa and telling war stories about how you killed each other's homeboys. It's an ugly look. Anyways, it's mostly happening in up north, not down south. It is what it is. Like I said, at the same time, have pride and power in what you believe in. If you're a Norteño and you're striving, hey, respect that. If you're a Sureño and you're striving, fuck, I respect that. If you're a Perro and you're striving, when did you guys ever stop? It's all good, man. I respect that as well. Anyways, with that being said, man, I hope that you move fast with a purpose. I hope that you get everything that you want coming to you. Remember, at the end of the day, man, it's all about you, yours, your familia, and those that are around you that show you love. Show them love back, man. Pay one to no one. It is what it is, man. If you like these fucking spiels, please hit that like and subscribe. There's a little bell right there. If you tap it or pet it or touch it or lick it, I don't give a fuck how you do it, man. Bang, bang, then you'll be fucking subscribed. And it's all good in the hood, man. If you don't like this and you don't like me, and not a lot of people do, you can hit that thumbs down. Heavy as the head that wears the crown. I'm going to continue to struggle and strive. I want to say gracias to all my day one supporters and subscribers. We are now at 32,000 and making it happen. We did it together, canalitos and canalitas. How could I ever do it without you? I couldn't. Anyways, bang, bang. You know what it is. Menudo style. What you know about this Ben Davis shirt? I keep it old school, homie. I'm from the old school. Bang, bang, and blue. What, you didn't know?